Section one is all about shifting our mindset to an active approach when it comes to recruiting. I look at recruiting as something that needs to be done consistently, and you need to develop your recruiting muscles. And so, a lot of times, what I see when I talk with business owners, or just on Facebook or Twitter, wherever I'm looking, is what I call recruiting sprints. And these are, you have a sudden need to hire someone, right? Either you just grew and you're too busy and you're booked out 2 weeks and now you need someone. Congratulations, that's the best possible scenario. Or someone just left and now you need to find a replacement. And so what happens typically is all of a sudden you have a sudden need, right? Someone leaves without letting you know, or they put a 2 week notice in, doesn't matter. Or you're growing and you start the process from scratch. So what happens is you post a job ad, and you maybe read some resumes and maybe ask them, do some phone screening or set up some interviews, and sit down for some interviews. And some people don't show up, some people do show up. You're spending a lot of time personally yourself or whoever you have doing it for you, and usually the process takes about maybe 3 weeks. That's a sprint. And then you stop. You make a decision, you hire someone, and then you stop. So that's a recruiting sprint. What I'm suggesting is that recruiting should be consistently being done, whether you have a direct need for someone or you don't. Recruiting should be active and an everyday activity, to where you're building a database full of people that are going to be ready to work from you. So I almost think that it's better to start this recruiting process while you don't have a need for someone. Start talking to people, start, exercising those interview muscles, and start just getting your company name out there, getting people aware, and building that database of people. So that's what a consistent recruiting structure looks like. And then there's an active and a passive way to do that. A passive way to do that, in my opinion, is, and I know a lot of companies kind of do this for you, is where they build a job ad for you and they build a funnel, and hopefully someone shows up at the bottom of the funnel, and then you interview them and you can make a decision, right? So that's very passive. There's not a lot of interaction with the candidate as they go through the funnel. Really, you're kind of just setting, forgetting, hoping someone, sends you an email to schedule an interview or schedules an interview on your calendar, however you have it set up. The problem with this is that we're dealing with humans, and humans get stuck, while they do things. Life is busy. I know I used to kind of say to you, well, if they're a good employee, they won't get stuck. They can just follow directions, and, they shouldn't need help. And I don't necessarily think that's true anymore. We're dealing with very human problems, and we need a human touch to that. And when you work with a passive approach, you don't really get that. So you're getting candidates stuck in the funnel. And what that means is slower results due to the passive nature of the funnel. But the benefit, I guess, of the passive funnel set and forget is it requires less time of you. I suggest that we look at recruiting and dealing with these candidates that are giving you their contact information, that are applying to your job posts, giving you their contact information. I suggest that we treat them like you would a new customer, right? A new customer maybe submits a form lead, and you contact them, you ask them a bunch of questions, you get them on your schedule, you follow up with them, make sure that they're going to be there for their appointment, you give them the estimate, right? Maybe they book on the spot, maybe they don't. But if they don't, you follow up with them, right? You don't forget about them and just hope that, they show up ready to hand you cash, or, maybe you try to automate the whole process of, a new customer submits a lead form. They usually, in my experience, don't just show up at the bottom with the quote in hand, ready to give you money. It requires a little more human interaction with that. And because of that, I'm suggesting that we treat our candidates, who are people, just the same. So an active approach to this, always hiring, regardless of open positions. Like I said, we're building that database of people, actively assisting candidates through the process, providing what we're going to call candidate support, right? If they have questions, if they, maybe can't complete a step, someone's there to assist them, to provide candidate support. Remember, this is a first impression of your company to a new employee. Do you want to just let them fend for themselves, or do you want to help them and show that you care and show kind of a little glimpse of what working for you is going to be like? And because we're providing this support, more candidates are going to move through the funnel at a quicker rate, right? Just like back to my marketing example for new customers, you're spending all this money to acquire a customer. Maybe you're spending money to boost this job ad. These people are giving you their information. And so say a cost per candidate is $10. You're not going to waste that $10 by letting people get stuck in your funnel, right? Like, no, you want to make sure that they are going to produce a result at the end. So we want them to get through the funnel. That's why we're going to provide assistance through them. And again, to my final point, we're going to treat candidates like you would a customer. Okay, so that's section one. That's the active mindset to recruiting. Again, it's active. It's not a sprint. It's consistent, and we're developing those strong muscles. I like to look at the example of if you go to the gym, say your New Year's resolution is to go to the gym. You go for the first week in January, you work out, your muscles are sore, and then you stop. And then 6 months later, you're like, dang, I need to start working out. I have a wedding, or I'm looking to get my beach bod ready, right? You're going to go back to the gym maybe for that, in August or June, whatever. Do you think you're going to be stronger than you were before when you went in January, or kind of the same? I think you're probably going to be the same. But do you think you'd be stronger if you went to the gym every day in January and stayed consistent? Yes, that's a given. So recruiting is the same thing. The more we do it, the more reps we get in, the better we're going to get at it. The more people we talk to, the more candidates we talk to, the better we're going to get at discovering who is a great employee and who works for our company.